Hi, recently I noticed that I missed something, uh, uh, and it is connected with my son's behavior. He used to have some type of behavior before we moved to this city, but in this city everything changed. But I didn't notice this just because I was focused on his rude behavior. I already told you that the autism uh, is caused by the fear from a woman, and it can develop when a child is up to 2 years old, and ADHD can develop when a child is from 2 to 4 years old, and it is also the reason of the fear from a woman. After my son experienced the aggressive shaking of his grandma, I started noticing that he had the distracted attention from time to time. And but he was smart. I prepared him to the kindergarten. He had all necessary skills for the kindergarten, and he knew letters and numbers. Uh, but in the kindergarten, the teacher started complaining that when he is too focused on his friends, he forgets to do some routine things. For example, he was the last who was ready to go for a walk. So they just put the box with his clothes near him, so he didn't have any time to go to talk with his friends. And when he was to grade 1, the situation was even worse. He couldn't concentrate on his tasks. The teacher needed to remind him to be focused on his tasks. Um, it was difficult for him to concentrate, and they provided the fidgeting stool for him and the sound blockers, so it would be easier for him to concentrate on the task. And at home I started noticing the same problem when, for example, he was eating. At some point, I just saw that his mind is distracted. He's in his thoughts. He couldn't even concentrate on his food. And it scared me a lot. But then we moved to the city, and at some point, all these symptoms disappeared. And a month ago, we went to the student involved conference, and I asked the teacher how he was, and the teacher told me that everything was good. And I told her about the fidgeting stool and the sound blockers in grade 1, but the teacher told me that no, everything is good. He can be focused, he can be concentrated, he doesn't need any sound blockers or the fidgeting stool. And I started remembering what happened. And I remembered that when we were in the shelter, um, uh, CFS interviewed me that time. They asked me questions about the domestic violence of my connected with my husband. And before that interview, I started asking my questions to my son. I remember that my son didn't like to stay at home with his grandmother. When I went for the groceries, he always went with me. He just wanted to be with me as much as possible, and he didn't like to stay at home with his grandma. And I asked him questions that time in the shelter. Was your grandma rude with you when I was absent? And my son told me that yes, she was rude with him. She could use some rude words. She could push him. She could even hit him on his arms and so on. I told about this to CFS workers, but they ignored this just because they investigated the domestic violence connected with my husband, not connected with my mom. But now I realize that as my son remembered and realized that my mother was rude with him, and ADHD is connected with the fear from a woman, so those ADHD symptoms disappeared. By the way, I didn't know that he had ADHD. Only now, when I checked everything on Google, I realized this. So now we have the piece of good news. It's possible to get rid of ADHD symptoms if a child can remember any rude behavior of a woman. Thank you. Bye-bye.